YouTube is, in my opinion, the best place to be long-term to build a brand. Why? Because it's the only platform where your content lives forever. In every other platform, Instagram, Facebook, Snap, Pinterest, LinkedIn, wherever you want to go, the content dies. Where my YouTube videos from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, are still getting views on my channel. And so it's the hardest one to build traction and momentum behind, but it's the best one to generate long-term brand and awareness and lead generation. It doesn't have to be the fanciest edited version. This is where a lot of thought leaders fall down. They'll spend 20 minutes recording a video and then 4 hours editing it. You want to develop the skill so that you can record yourself making a 10-minute video without mistakes, without needing editing. Learning to speak so that you don't need to be edited down is a skill that serves you for life, not just for YouTube, but for life. So anytime you feel heightened emotion, record. Happy, sad, depressed, angry, whatever. After finishing an interview like this, maybe you're pumped up and like, man, I'm so happy I did this. Maybe you're grateful. Maybe it was a waste of time. You're like, man, this guy haven't wasted my time. I hate that dude. Like, whatever, awesome. Negative emotions too, like film it. So you get the practice of getting it out of your system, because we're good at feeling, but we're not usually good at being able to express it verbally. And you need that, because without the emotional commitment behind your message, it's always gonna fall flat.
This week on American Real, we welcome Evan Carmichael, who breathes and bleeds entrepreneurship, aiming to help 1 billion entrepreneurs unlock their human potential. If you're looking to increase your YouTube subscriber base like I am, this episode is pure gold. Evan dives into and reveals his YouTube secrets that has helped him become the biggest YouTube channel in the world for entrepreneurs with 1.9 million subscribers. He divulges his video strategy, provides the perfect model for thought leadership videos, and even walks us through an example for capturing the attention of your audience. Evan has connected with some of the most successful entrepreneurs on the planet while curating his top 10 rules. So this week I ask you to sit back, but don't relax. Rather grab a pad of paper and pen as I welcome Mr. Evan Carmichael. This is American Real. I am Roger Brooks. My guest today is Evan Carmichael. You are working to solve what you say is the world's biggest problem, untapped potential. Evan, welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot, Roger. Good to be here, man.
You've been on a tour.
Yeah, just came back, did 90 days, longer than what most rock bands will do, 23 cities, broke my neck with a month left to go, kept going. Been a wild ride, but this is the highlight. I get to be talking to Roger. We finally made it happen, man. I'm pumped.
That's great. Well, look, I would love, Evan, to talk about YouTube today.
Okay.
I know for myself, it's been a struggle to
really increase the number of subscribers on a continual basis. I know you've worked really, really hard on it, for the past several years. And I know others out there are also struggling, because I hear it from people in the industry and outside of the industry. So if you're in my shoes, or a smaller business similar, just getting started out on YouTube, what are some of the things that you would advise are the best ways to grow subscribers and to grow your YouTube base?
Got it. So a couple things come to mind immediately. The first is, how often are you creating content? So you, Roger, how often are you making videos on YouTube?
Consistently once a week.
Okay, so that would be like bare minimum. So now it's figuring out, how do we get Roger making more content? Ideally, I'd love for you to get to daily, or at least 5 times a week on weekdays. So how do we go from where you're at now to where you're hopefully going to be? Now, that may mean eventually scaling, having a team, all this kind of stuff to help you get there. But having that as the ambition. So I'm at once a week now. My next step is to double it, to get to twice a week, and then 3 times a week, and slowly scaling up. But that's where you want to get to. YouTube is, in my opinion, the best place to be long-term to build a brand. Why? Because it's the only platform where your content lives forever. In every other platform, Instagram, Facebook, Snap, Pinterest, LinkedIn, wherever you want to go, the content dies.
Okay.
Nobody's going back a week on your Instagram, let alone 5 years, right? Where my YouTube videos from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, are still getting views on my channel. And so it's the hardest one to build traction and momentum behind, but it's the best one to generate long-term brand and awareness and lead generation. So the videos that you make now, as long as the content is evergreen and still relevant, in 5 years, we'll still be generating awareness, leads, customers for your business. And so it's worth the effort to put in, because the content lives forever. So that's just strategy, like why YouTube versus the other platforms. So we want to be getting to consistent, regular content. So ideally, we're working to a plan to get to daily, because that's when you really start to trigger the YouTube algorithm. When I went from once a week to once a day, it's when I really started blowing up on my YouTube channel. Next, you got to decide, am I in the entertainment or education business? And so for you, you're a thought leader, right? You're a thought leader. Roger has amazing ideas that have to come out. Roger sees the world in a different way than most people. Like even you're sitting there in Atlanta, just walking into that room, and what you see for you might be normal, but for most people is weird, is different. You see the world differently than most people. And so as a thought leader, your job is to train me to think like you think. Things that may be normal for you, you have to get that out of your head and put it out into the world so that people understand, because they want more. They want to think like Roger more. And so as a thought leader, then, how do you make great videos? It starts with leading with a powerful opinion each time. So every video that you make, now, whether it's an interview like this, you might do like a coming up or a preview, because maybe the best part of this interview comes 10 minutes in, and people may not stick around through the intro and everything else. But when it's just you, right, you have to decide, am I just going to be an interviewer and I want to be the next Larry King and just interview people? Or no, I've got mad knowledge myself that I want to be able to share. And so in which case I need to see you sharing your thoughts on camera. It doesn't have to be the fanciest edited version. This is where a lot of thought leaders fall down. They'll spend 20 minutes recording a video and then 4 hours editing it. You're training the wrong skill. Like, your ambition is not to be the world's greatest editor. And so if you spend 20 minutes recording and 4 hours editing, you'll just never, for most people, for most thought leaders, you'll never break free, because the editing is too onerous. And so yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Instead, you want to focus on, it's for everybody listening, you want to develop the skill so that you can record yourself making a 10-minute video without mistakes, without needing editing. And it's a skill that you'll learn that will serve you for life. Because when you get on stage and you're doing speaking gigs, there's no redo, there's no editing. When you're doing a radio show or an interview like this, now maybe there's some editing on this side, but if you're being interviewed, maybe there's no editing. And so learning to speak so that you don't need to be edited down is a skill that serves you for life, not just for YouTube, but for life. when it's hologram Roger coming into your living room, spitting knowledge, you know, that ability to make that hologram, record it without having to be edited is a skill that then you use forever and ever and ever and ever, whether YouTube sticks around or not. And so for thought leaders, if you have ideas, then even pull out your phone and put it up against a cabinet and every day, give me a 10-minute video, spitting knowledge. Right?
And Evan, that was my next question. Do you recommend 10 minutes as a daily video?
10 minute is my default base metric that we look for. If you look at videos that are short, they very rarely do well on YouTube. YouTube used to be about quick consumption, you know, let's go, I want it on the go, and it was stupid fails, funny cat videos, not thought leadership, not educational. But if you look at what's happened over the YouTube landscape, even just go to your own YouTube feed, go to youtube.com and see what shows up in your recommended. You're not going to see very many sub 5-minute videos. The only ones that are music videos. Why? Because they get the repeat, because you listen to that song again and again. Otherwise, a short video very rarely takes off on YouTube because their most important metric is watch time. YouTube wants you to keep people on YouTube. And so we look at 10 minutes as a baseline of how do I get a video to at least 10 minutes. Don't fill it with crap. If you have nothing else to say, then don't. But the beauty of someone like you is you could talk in little tidbits if you wanted to. If you needed to do a little snippet or a highlight, you could. But you also have a deep well of knowledge. You're not just, hey, I'm a 17-year-old startup and I don't know what I'm saying, so I'm just going to do some highlights. Like, you've had years of experience, and the way to then make a longer video is to give more context, to take me deeper, to tell me stories, to make it make more sense to me. And so it's tapping into that reserve. 10 minutes is the base. There's no max. My best video on my channel is 30 minutes long. We've had videos that are 8 hours long that crush it. So there's no maximum, but we try. If it's an 8-minute video or 7-minute video, I'm asking my team, okay, what can we add? Is there anything else we could put in here to add 2 or 3 minutes to get it to 10 plus? Makes a big difference.
Good. No, that's great advice. And I did want to mention a couple of things that might be relevant here and see if you have some further ideas.
Yeah.
So at American Real, we have a private Facebook group called Live Tribe. And it's really to help people get comfortable with live video within a private environment. So the first premise is to do a 1-minute video, just to get comfortable every single day to do a 1-minute video consistently. And that's working really well for people. We have some people who have been doing it every day for over a year, for about 14 months, every single day. So and then the next step is we have something called Take 5, where you go in and you do a 5-minute video. But now that we're talking, I'm thinking we should have a group to practice 10-minute videos, because then it could translate into actual, content on YouTube. And
is it thought leaders for the most part?
They are, yes. But really, anyone could join. So yeah. We have people from all around the world. Anyone is welcome to join. But I would say, yes, the vast majority, 75%.
So let me give you a perfect model for a 10-minute thought leadership video that you're free to use in your group and special for your audience. Number one, you lead with a powerful opinion. The very first sentence, when you're doing an interview, that's a little harder because you're doing it in an exchange. But when it's you, just speaking to the camera, your first sentence out of your mouth needs to be a powerful opinion that makes me think. Never lead with a, hey, it's me, I'm back. Nope. Hey, guys, nope. You got 5 seconds, right? Like, opinion. What is your powerful opinion that's going to make me think? So, like, what's an opinion that you have that is...
you become what you think about.
Great. You become what you think about. First sentence, right? And you can tell the trainings because you've done these 1-minute videos. So Roger knows his game. He's down. Great. So first sentence is powerful opinion. Second sentence, you give me context to the first sentence. So what does that mean? So you become what you think about. Okay, so give me one more sentence that takes me a little further down that journey of you become what you think about.
Yeah, so when you formulate thoughts and opinions, those turn into ideas, which should then turn into action.
Got it. Perfect. Roger, man, he's got it.
You're making me work.
No, that's great. So that's the second sentence. Now the third sentence is you have to make me care. You have to make me do something in the moment. So now you need to inflict some pain into me. So I become what I think about. What happens if I don't change? What happens if I don't do the thing? My agent used to say, imagine somebody is about to jump off a bridge. And the problem that they're facing right now, the reason why they're going to jump is the exact problem that you're talking about in this video. And somebody hands them a phone, right? And they're watching your video. So you need to move them in this speech right now to make them not jump off the bridge. Now, that's a crazy
I like
mindset,
it though.
but it's raising the stakes, because if you go into the video thinking that this video is going to be life-changing for somebody, then it will be. If you go in, this is where it's hard, because most people that you're in a hotel room in Atlanta, you're just talking to a camera. It's easy to be blasé, complacent. Like, no, this matters. Like, you have to pay attention and make a real change right now in your life, or what? So if we take your example, you become what you think about, you give a great secondary sentence, then now raise the stakes on me. What happens if I don't do that change?
So if you don't make this change, you will typically conform and just fall into the same old ruts that you always have, and that most people do, in their lives.
Yeah, so that's pretty good. I would say even more pain. Like if you don't start changing the way you think and what you think about, you're going to end up exactly where you are in 5 years. Like, you're going to end up like your parents. You're going to end up like everything you don't want to be unless you start changing your thoughts. And that starts today.
Got
Something like that. I'm just pulling words.
Sure.
But powerful opinion from the get, like right away. Most people you're already losing people in the first 5 seconds. Context sentence, and then raise the stakes. And just like, if I'm with your group, your 1 minute, I'm practicing that template. Get that down. Practice, practice, practice. Nail those 3 sentences. Then you tell me a story. So you can tap into lots of stories. It could be your experience, a friend's experience, a client's experience, something in the news, anything. You tell me a story. This is where people are typically pretty good. And you told tons of stories over your career. And chances are the people who are thought leaders are already really good at that. So great. So you tell me a story. Next, that whole piece is just getting me to be emotionally with you. Like, okay, you know what, Roger, you struck a chord. Like, now tell me what I need to do next. Then you get into your advice. So people often start with the advice. It doesn't land because there's no emotional connection. Just telling me to wake up every day and whatever, before we started recording, said, you like my office, right? Like, this is what I think about, right? So one of your advice might be, hey, design your physical environment, right? Yep. That's great. But if you lead a video with that, it's not going to land for most people because you haven't connected with me emotionally yet. And so the point of the 3 sentences and then the story is to connect with me emotionally. Then you tell me, I've got 3 ways for how you can immediately change what you think about to have an impact in your life. You give me your advice. Step 1, change your environment. Tell me about it. Step 2, step 3, right? You go deep with each one. And then you bring it back. Again, like, you become what you think. This is important. And you wrap it up. That's a 10-minute video. That's a great thought leadership. It's not the watch me, eat 1,000 jelly beans and get sick, or entertainment kind of stupid videos. That's a whole other genre. But if you're a thought leader, that is a beautiful template to follow. That if you're good at what you do, like if you have deep knowledge to share, that will really help you take off on YouTube.
I love it, Evan. That is gold. Our listeners are really, really going to, and I'm going to benefit from that tremendously, because the way you put it, I've heard bits and pieces of that, but no one has ever really constructed it so nicely. So I appreciate that, and I am going to take your advice.
I love it.
We're going to start doing that.
Look out, Roger's coming.
We're coming. Great. So, okay. Any other advice on that topic?
So after you record it, watch it back, especially the first 3 sentences. I do a 3-day workshop twice a year in Toronto where I teach this, the Thought Leadership Academy, walk people through how to I take experts and turn them into social media stars. And so we do this, and it's not just, this is theory right now. Then you have to actually do it. So I'll work with people to do it. We just finished my last workshop last week, and you tell people this, and then they say, I got it. And then they pick up their phone, like, hey, great, record one right now. And they press record. Hey, guys, what? No. No.
Right.
Because you fall back into your patterns of how you've been making videos, right? Yep. So record yourself, at least for the first 3 sentences, get that down. And I think what you're doing is genius with your 1-minute videos, because if you're already training this in people that the first sentence has to make an impact, you have to punch me in the gut right away. Then by the time they get into the take 5 and whatever you're going to call the 10-minute video, they've already trained it and practiced it. So watch yourself back. Watch that, especially the first minute. Once people get to the story and the advice, they're usually pretty good. They just need that template to follow because they don't have a structure. But when you figure that out, it's usually pretty easy. But the first 3 sentences become really key. So record it and then watch yourself back. One other quick hack for people who are trying to get started on this is I recommend recording on Instagram using their stories 3 to 10 times a day whenever you feel heightened emotion. So here you're talking in 15-second chunks and it disappears in 24 hours. So who cares, right? You suck, awesome. It's gone anyway. It doesn't matter. So whenever you feel heightened emotion, get used to not just feeling it, but expressing it. Because it's often hard to recall. It's hard to think about that thing that happened a year ago that was amazing, but then have that same amazing vibe when you're sharing it. This is really hard for thought leaders. And so, one, if you've recorded it, now you've practiced getting it out verbally, not just feeling it. So you get the practice of getting it out, but you also have a recorded copy of it so you can go back and watch again. It's like, oh, that's how I felt, right? So anytime you feel heightened emotion, record. Happy, sad, depressed, angry, whatever. You know, after finishing an interview like this, maybe you're pumped up and like, man, I'm so happy I did this. Maybe you're grateful. Maybe it was a waste of time. You're like, man, this guy haven't wasted my time. I hate that dude. Like, whatever, awesome. Negative emotions too, like film it. So you get the practice of getting it out of your system, because we're good at feeling, but we're not usually good at being able to express it verbally. And you need that, because without the emotional commitment behind your message, it's always going to fall flat.
I love that. And you're saying do that on Instagram stories. 3
to 10 times a day on Instagram stories. And I would put this as a challenge for your group.
Yes.
Follow each other. And here's the thing. What do I talk about? What do I talk about 3 to 10 times a day? Here's the thing. You guys are thought leaders. So just looking at the background in Roger's hotel there in Atlanta, even how he looks at it. Like, what's your first impression? Is it great? Is it clean? Like, what's the first thing that you see? Teach me something. You're setting up for this shot. You know, you're trying to figure out how you're going to put the camera and the lighting. And there's lessons in the mundane of how you think, because it's not mundane for other people, but it's your job to subtract that out of your head and out into the world. And so if you think that way, 3 to 10 times a day becomes super easy to do. You just have to train the muscle to be able to teach people how you think.
Awesome advice. Now what? Any other advice on this topic?
So I do 3 videos a day across 7 different channels now. It's an experiment that I'm running. But if you get to 1 video a day, now I'm looking at how do I improve my quality more so than how do I get to 2 videos a day. And so then it becomes about how do you pick different series. So if I look at Roger here, Roger has his interview series, and maybe that's once a week. And then maybe Roger does Roger in the car. And that's him kind of ranting in the car. Maybe Roger does a coaching one-on-one where every week you pull somebody from your Facebook group and you do a live coaching, helping them with whatever they're struggling with. Maybe Roger does an Ask Roger and he pulls 3 questions from the audience and he just answers those questions. Maybe Roger's responding to the news and he's looking up Twitter trending and seeing what's popping and what you have an opinion on, whether it's Trump, whether it's the basketball, whatever. You have something to share, you say it. So now you have different series. And each series is a weekly show. And now you're looking at, okay, which series is winning and I need to double down on, and which series is losing and I need to either cut or I need to make it better. So maybe the interview series is the worst series on your channel, right? And so now you're looking at, okay, is it my guests? Is it the questions that I'm asking? Is it people just don't like interviews? And you try to make it better. The great thing about YouTube is they have the richest analytics of any social media platform. And so what it'll show you is, it's called audience retention. there's this graph that's beautiful that shows you when people are falling off on your video. So you can see, okay, when I do this long, boring intro, oh, in the first 15 seconds, I've already lost 25% of my audience. It's a sharp curve. It should be this slow declining curve. That's an ideal kind of videos. People are slowly leaving. It's very rarely flat. If it's flat, that means you lost nobody, which means whatever you did there was awesome and keep doing it. But if you see a sharp drop, it's like, well, whatever I did there, that sucked. And I need to stop doing it, or I need to find a way to make it better. So once you're doing daily videos, then you start paying attention to your analytics to see which series are working. And then within the series, where are we losing people? Where is my graph just falling off the face of the earth? Kind of like when they do the live TV of elections, or when they're doing debates and like who's winning and who's losing. And you can see when a candidate starts talking about this, it starts going up or it starts going down.
Yeah.
So you can make decisions off of that, right? When I talk about this, or when I go outside, or when I XYZ, right? It tanks or it does well. And so it starts giving you information on what you should do more or less of. But if you're only doing a video a week or a video a month, you just don't have enough data to make decisions off of yet. And so I would not worry about going to 2 videos a day yet. At that point, if you're at daily or 5 times a week, I'd be looking at my data to see, okay, if my goal is to gain subscribers, YouTube will tell you which videos are gaining you subscribers and which ones are losing you subscribers, and then making better decisions and tweaking your content schedule.
And Evan, what should the goal be? Should the goal be to increase your subscriber base, or the viewership, or both?
This is reverse engineering what your goals are as a business. So for me, my #1 goal is subscriber growth. Okay. I want subscriber growth. So every series that I create, I want it to generate subscribers for me. Your #1 goal might be lead generation, might be I want to take people off of YouTube onto my email list, right? So if that's your goal, then you say with every video, I've also got my 5 ways on how to XYZ. There's a link in the description below. Go check it out, right? So you're pulling people. You don't use YouTube as a sales tool. You use it as a lead gen tool, because any sales video will tank.
Okay.
It just won't work. What happens is when you make a new video, it goes to your subscribers. It goes to a percentage of your subscribers first. If they like it, it goes to more of your subscribers. If they like it, it goes to all your subscribers. And if they like it, it goes out to the YouTube world where you get exposure to new people. If it's a sales video, it'll hit that first core audience. They won't like it because it's a sales video, and then it's gone. You use it as a lead gen where you're giving value and then some bonus that they can download, that then you're capturing their email address. So when you have something to sell, you're emailing that person instead of making a video.
I've tried to stay away from any sales on YouTube. But again, it's good to hear that reinforcement of not to do it there.
You should use it as lead capture.
Lead capture.
Right?
Absolutely.
Like get their email, send them to your website, and now you have this email list that's keep growing. Then when you're selling your next course, your next book, your next community, whatever, you've got this email list to sell to.
Right. Okay, good. What about live video on YouTube? What do you recommend there?
I have not done a live video, I want to say, in at least a year. I do not recommend it. It tanks your channel. It puts out bad signals. So it's great for audience interaction, and that people can ask you questions, and YouTube promotes it hard to your audience and says you're live so you can get people asking questions. But the metrics on those videos really suck. People do not stick around. Your audience retention is really bad, and YouTube does not promote the videos. They don't promote live videos afterwards. So I do not recommend it. I used to do it every day. I mean, I love live. I love the interaction. It's my favorite thing. So what I do now is I go live on Instagram, usually every morning, and then I'll download that feed and upload an edited version to my YouTube channel.
Okay, great. Great way around it. And now again, you have content back on YouTube.
Yeah.
In that example, Evan, I know we only have a couple of minutes left. Are you adding to that live video to get it to that 10-minute mark, or are you about 10 minutes?
If I'm over 10, I'm fine. I tell my team, like if it's a 15-minute, 25-minute, then release it. Release it as that.
You'll go live that long on Instagram?
Oh, Instagram, I usually go live for 30 to 60 minutes.
Every day?
Every day. And it's Q&A based. So I would do it two ways. I know we're bumping against the clock, but I would do two ways. One, you share your wisdom and advice with the audience, and then solicit questions. How can I help? How can I be of service? What do you guys need help with? And then they're going to ask you questions, and you respond to it, and you train people. So for me, it's 9 a.m. Eastern, Monday to Friday. Hop on, and so people know to come back every weekday and hop on a call with me. You can also bring them in live, picture in picture, and do coaching with them. And so I recommend that as an option for every thought leader as well. At the beginning, you may not have much of an Instagram audience, so schedule it. So for most thought leaders, like training with Roger one-on-one is going to cost you money. Like Roger's not going to do that for free. It's going to cost you money. So not everybody can afford that. Awesome. Here's a free version. Come live with me on Instagram. It's public. Everybody gets to see it, but you get access to me for free. And so now people see you coaching. So especially for any coaches out there who want to sell coaching services, if I see you coaching somebody, right, and I see them get a result, like, holy cow, this Roger guy is insane. How do I hire him? I don't want to go live on his Instagram, but I want private one-on-one, and I'm willing to pay the $1,000 an hour or whatever it is to get access to Roger's time.
Evan, this has been great. I want to be respectful of your time. I would love to do an in-person interview with you at some point.
Where are you based?
We're in upstate New York.
Okay.
We take our set on the road. So I would love to come to Toronto someday so we could sit down one-on-one.
We can make that work. If you email my assistant, I have a Thursday session standing that's open that if people want to come into the studio and do an interview, we set that up. So
great. Well, Evan Carmichael, thank you so much, and welcome to the American Real family.
I love it, man. Thank you for having me. That's great.
Thanks for tuning into American Real. Be sure to visit our website, americanreal.tv, or search for us on iTunes or YouTube for past episodes. While you're there, please rate us or leave us a review, as that helps others find our show. I am truly grateful and appreciate all of your support. At American Real, we're on a mission to help as many people around the world fulfill their dreams and obtain their goals. If you'd like to be part of our inner circle or want one-on-one coaching, check out the American Real Learning Academy, where we have self-help groups and courses so you can build the best you. We also have a new Facebook group where you can connect with high achievers from around the world. If you want to go even further, maybe you're determined to write your own book or launch your own podcast, contact me today to see if we could help. You can reach me through Instagram or Facebook, or email me directly at roger@americanreal.tv. And speaking of podcasting, our next course will be starting soon. So if you're interested in launching your own podcast, join me at Podcast Your Passion. I'll take you through my 8-week course where I'll mentor you to build a world-class podcast. I'm only taking on a small group of people who want to share their passion through broadcasting, where I'll have you up on iTunes and YouTube within weeks so you can podcast your passion. Click on the link below for more information. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.